just want you to bear with me. Okay, lovely, jubbly. Right, I guess we're sorted. Okay, everyone. So nice to meet everybody. Now, let me tell you something. Usually we're muting everyone during this session, but if you have a question, let me show you quickly how you do it, right? So if you want to say something at a time, and of course, I wouldn't be able to answer all questions. I'll do my best. But what you can do is that you will find, if you're working from your computer, you will find an icon down there that says participants. And if you click on this icon, you will see an option that tells you raise your hand. And if you press on it, your hand, okay, I will see a blue hand right in front of me. And this is when I know that you've got a question, right? Good, that's one thing. And yeah, like I can see that someone did this already. Wonderful. Right. Okay. Once you raise your hand and then your question is answered, or you don't have, or you don't want to ask the question anymore, just lower your hand one more time so that I know that you don't have a question. If you're new to Zoom, or this is your first experience with this, and you're not very familiar with what is going on, then no problem. There is a start for everything, right? So consider it a kind of a learning experience, right? Good, lovely. As for people working from their mobile phones, okay, because I know that some of you are doing this, then again, you go also to more, and then you will find participants, and then I guess it will be on the right, raise your hand. I'm not 100% sure because I'm working from my laptop, but again, this is when you have a question. So let's talk. Let's start our session, okay, and talk a bit about some stuff here. Allow me to share a screen with you, and then we talk a bit, right? So give me a second here. Okay, lovely, jubbly. Right. Okay, good. Now I want you to see this. Now, this is the session title, right? I call it all sides of the picture. It's actually mainly about teaching using pictures. And what I'm going to focus on today's session is actually using pictures for teaching skills. Because as you know, in English language, we have two areas that we can focus on when it comes to teaching. We can either focus on teaching skills, and when we say skills, we're talking here about listening, reading, writing, and speaking, right? So these are the four skills we have in English language, right? But when we say systems, then we're talking about five systems in English language. We're talking about grammar, we're talking about vocabulary, we're talking about function, we're talking about discourse, and we're talking about pronunciation. So again, this session is for actually using pictures for teaching skills. So that's the main focus. Someone might ask, Shady, but what about systems? Well, that might be a different session. So that might be another session, but this other session would be focusing on using pictures for teaching systems, right? But the focus today, the main thing today is teaching skills. Okay, right. So let me move from there now, and let's move to the second slide here. And let's read this together. It's a very interesting quote, and then I'll be taking some of your opinions. So I'll give you half a minute to read this quote. Okay, lovely, jubbly. That's interesting. Right. Okay. So let me read this with you and then think about it together. Right. And this is by Pinier. It has been said that teachers who have been teaching for 20 years may be divided into two categories. Right. Those with 20 years experience, those with 20 years. I mean, allow me just to mute everyone. Okay, so one more time. So it has been said that teachers who have been teaching for 20 years may be divided into two categories: those with 20 years experience and those with 1 year's experience repeated 20 times. I want to listen to some opinions on this. What do you think the speaker means by this? So let me get to Russia. Yes, Russia. Russia Al-Mugi.
Actually, the thing is, I've been teaching for 20 years, okay? So, what a coincidence. Anyway, yeah, I think he means by that teachers who really think they have 20 years of experience, the teachers who are updating their knowledge, who are learning continuously, okay, who are renewing their teaching styles and strategies. But the ones with 1 year repeated are the ones who are stay still in their place using all the traditional ways.
Okay, wonderful answer. I really love this. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'd say, well, pretty much true. Because again, some people keep working for years and years and years. But the problem, all what they do is just they repeat the same thing over and over and over again. This is what we call negative experience. This is not real experience. Because for us, real experience is when you develop yourself. Real experience is when you try to learn something new every time. But it's not about how long you've been teaching, because you might be teaching for years, but you're learning nothing new. You're just doing the same process. Okay. And this is the reason why we run sessions like these. The reasons why we run such PD sessions or professional development sessions is that all of us want to learn more. It's about learning and learning and learning, because experience is not just a number of years. Experience is about what kind of things you've been doing through all these years. Have you been learning something new, or just you're staying still? Right. Okay. So let's get now to the first part of our session today. And let me start it by showing you a very interesting picture. Okay, just 1 second. And that would be actually activity 1. Okay, so wonderful. Let's have a look at this picture now, right? Okay, this is a picture I took myself when I was, no, let me ask you this question. Where do you think I was when I took this picture? Okay, right. I mean, raise your hand if you have an answer. Okay, so I can see that Tuta Bedr is raising her hand. Yes. Okay, I guess she's not following. So let me move to the gentleman in red here. I'm asking you to mute yourself. Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Hi.
I think you were in India.
Just because of the monkey, eh?
Maybe, yeah.
That's a good guess, but no, it was in India.
Yes, can I answer?
Oh yeah, let me just listen to Radwa. Yes, Radwa?
Yes, I think you were in your car in the street.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but this is very specific. Which country was I in? What do you think?
Can I say?
Yes.
Let me just listen to Radwa first. Radwa, what country do you think I was in? Difficult to guess?
I think you were in South Africa.
So yeah, that's pretty much true. Okay,
I
pretty
think
much true.
you were in Durban, might be Durban.
It is Durban. Excellent. Yeah, I was in Durban, South Africa,
Durban.
actually.
It's
And
Ahmed Hassan speaking, Dr. Shed.
oh, Ahmed, hi. How are you, man?
I'm fine. I'm fine, Dr. Shed.
Okay, right. So actually, this is really true because let me tell you about this. During this time, I was actually at in South Africa, Durban, and I had a CELTA there, so I was teaching a CELTA. And then I went to buy some stuff from a market. And when I went out, I saw this car. It was actually parked right in front of the market. And this crazy monkey was stealing from the car. Okay, this is when I took this picture. And it was crazy. It was a very sneaky monkey because he was just eating too fast. Okay, like because he wanted to eat everything before the car owner comes back, right? So I took this picture during this time. Now, what I want you to do is to go through your mobile phones, and I am sure that you're going to find a lot of pictures that are related to your memory. I want you to choose a picture that is so much related to yourself, and it reminds you of a lot of stuff. Now, when you look at this picture, I want you to think about when, why, where, okay? So think about WH question that you might answer about this picture. So that's all I want you to do. So number one, a picture from your mobile phone. Number two, when you look at this picture, try to answer the questions like where, when, who, why, right? Okay, take your time. I will give you 1 minute to do this, right? Okay, so um, now if you finished this job and you found a picture and you answered these questions in your mind about this picture, please raise your hands as we taught you at the very beginning of the Zoom session. Use the participant, put the blue hand up, okay? You will find it down there in the icon called participant. There is something that is called raise a hand. So try to use this one. I can see that some people raised their hands already. Good. Okay, wonderful. So great, great, great. Now, what I want you to do, let me share a screen with you now, one more time, okay, and tell you about the communist step. And we're still talking about my picture. Okay, let's go back to this. Right. Okay, so as you see, this is the picture I took when I was in South Africa, Durban. Let's have a look at the text here. Okay, right. Now, this is the story, my story of this picture, okay? And what I want you to do, I want you to go to handout number 1. You will find it on the WhatsApp message. And if you don't have it right now, then you can follow this on the shared screen. This is the story about my picture. What I want you to do, read it carefully and think about the linguistic items there, okay? And what I mean by the linguistic items, what kind of grammar is used? What kind of vocabulary is used, right? Okay, so look at it, try to underline the important grammar, vocabulary. Think about this as teachers, and I will give you 1 minute to finish this, okay? So take your time.
Sorry, Dr. Shady, the screen is not clear.
Sorry, what? Who's asking?
Sorry, did you hear me, Dr. Shady?
Yes.
I have a black screen. Shady Rida had started screen sharing, and
It's
a black
back.
screen, just a black screen now.
It's back now, it is back. But again, you still have handout 1. It's on handout 1, so right? So my advice is to have handout 1 with you, but I'm leaving it on now.
It's okay.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, again, so let me say this. Don't worry if you haven't finished everything, right? Now, what I want you to do, you were supposed to think about this very, I guess it is a plane coming, flying up there. Right, anyway, right, okay, what I want you to do, think about this very small passage in terms of the linguistic features in there, okay, as teachers, as English teachers. I will give you now the opportunity to work in groups and think together about, what you came up with, what grammar areas you came up with, vocabulary, lexical areas, right? So I'm going to send you now to breakout rooms to discuss together, right? So let me do this. Okay, so I will stop the sharing now, but you can always access the text from handout 1. And as I said, it has been sent to you on WhatsApp, right? I'm sending you to 45 rooms now. Let's go. Okay, we're just waiting for everybody to come back from the breakout rooms, and then we're going to continue our discussion, right? Cool.
Excuse me, Dr. Shady.
Yes?
Is it possible if I want to share a picture to explain it like the way you're doing, like you're giving us an activity? So is it the way
Yes.
here?
If you're working together in a group and you want to share a picture, yes, of course, you can do that.
How can I do that?
Huh?
Which icon should I press out?
There is an icon called share a screen. So I guess this is the one you can use when you are in the breakout room. Okay, right.
Yeah.
I hope I'm right because I'm new to Zoom as well as everybody else.
Absolutely right.
Because remember, I mean, over a night, we've decided that we're going to teach online. Okay, it was crazy times, eh? Right. Okay.
I'm so happy. I have a problem with technology. So I'm so happy that's my first experience with Zoom.
Yeah, and I do agree with you, Nirmin. And also remember, I mean, even if you're having problems during this session, the good side is that it is the first experience with Zoom. So we're hoping that next, trial would be more successful as well. Right.
Yeah, awesome experience.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everything is a learning process, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
So now let's get back to our discussion, and let's go back, okay, to the text that I gave you a minute ago. Let's have a look at it. I'm sharing the screen one more time. Okay. So as you see, so features there could be, if we're thinking about the linguistic features that you might have discussed with your partner. Okay, so let me just mute everyone, and then, okay, we might give the floor to some people to give their opinion. So as you see, and I'm sure that you discussed some of this, we have I took here, which is past simple, right? And then we have also, let me just do that, 1 second. Yes, so that you can see this. Right. Okay, and then we've got I was having, that's past continuous, and then so, past simple again, okay? And then another so, stopped, felt, would, started, got, took, had, was shining, and then chose, okay? Right. So the idea is, now, when we look at the linguistic items in this very small paragraph, we find that we have a lot of examples from the past simple and also past continuous. And let me just give the floor, okay, to my friend here. Okay, you want to add something? Yes, please. Please unmute yourself, the man in red, because I can't see your name because you didn't write it. Okay. So anyone else wants to add something on this? So mainly, as you see, we've got, oh yes, let me listen to Tariq. Yes, Tariq, unmute yourself.
I think you used at the end of the story the simple present tense to decide a fact that you like animals, right?
Oh yes, okay, wonderful, good, lovely. So what else would you like to add, people, on this one? Can raise your hands if you want. I see Muntasir. Yes, Muntasir.
Yes, sir. I think you use the pronoun I a lot, which is for probably personification, because you are narrating a personal experience.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, that's another feature. Okay, Russia, Sami, would you like to add something? Unmute yourself, Russia. Good. Still, we want you to unmute yourself, Russia. so that we can hear you.
Okay. What
Yes.
about hello?
Yes, yes, we can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. We used when more than once. We used it once with the present simple and present continuous, and again with the present simple, present simple. That's different uses of when. If we are in the class, we can actually note this and let them know the difference between um, the 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 time line here and here. So actually the students memorize the rule as it is when simple simple, but like I don't know if you get my point.
Okay, okay, I got it. So you're talking here about the use of when as a conjunction, right? Okay, to link between past simple and past continuous. Yes. Okay, wonderful idea. I love that.
Once, and then you use that with past simple, past simple.
Okay, okay, that's cool. That's great. Right, right, right. Okay, nice,
okay, thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you so much, Russia. Right, okay. So again, people, now what happened, we talked about the linguistic features in the picture. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to go back to your picture. What picture? At the very beginning, I showed you a personal picture that I took myself, right? Now I'm talking about the picture on your mobile phone. I want you to think about what you would tell your friends about your own picture. So what you need to do is to think, as I said at the very beginning, about what, where, when, why, what is the story behind this picture on your mobile? And then you need also to pay attention to what kind of tenses you're using while you're telling your friends about this picture. Like, of course, you'll be telling a story about something in the past, so be careful of the use of narrative tenses like past simple and past continuous. So what I'm going to do now, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to send you to the rooms one more time, but this time it is a speaking activity. I want you to show the picture you have on your mobile to your friends and tell them about the story behind this picture. And I want you to pay attention to the kind of language you're using when you're telling your friends about this picture. So think about the tenses and the structures you're using. Okay, dokie. So telling a story about my picture or your picture? Your picture, right? I'll send you to the rooms now. Let's do that. Okay. So let's have also 45 rooms, I guess so. Or let's make them 40 rooms this time. Right, right, right. Now, off you go.
Hello?
Hello, Fatma. Haven't been sent to a room yet.
Yeah, hi.
Me too.
No.
Well, that's okay. Let me check here. So just wait a second, right? And let's see if you're not joining a room, I will reassign you to another new room, okay?
Me too.
Right, okay, yeah.
Mr. Shady, can I ask something?
Yes.
Hello.
I want to ask if we should use more relative pronouns when speaking or when writing an essay or something. Would it be more like high leveled like that?
Well, I mean, yes, I mean, the use of relative pronouns also shows that you're able to structure complicated sentences in English language, but it's not a matter of you must or you mustn't, right? It's a matter of whether you need this while you're communicating a message or not, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Welcome.
I'm back. Am I still in the same room? Yes, I guess so.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Right. So I visited some chat.
Unmute yourself, Shady.
Shady, please unmute yourself.
With me, I always do this. Shame on me. Right. Anyway. Right. Okay. Back on
There's
track.
no shame in that. There's no shame.
I visited some rooms, then I saw wonderful pictures, okay, that you were sharing together and talking about, okay? Now, so please, if you would like to tell me about some of the pictures your friends showed you, right, please raise a hand, and I will choose someone to talk about a picture, his friend's picture, not his own picture. Okay, so let me see. Who's ready? Okay, I can see here Abdullah. Abdullah Abdullah Haridi, yes. Okay, Abdullah, unmute yourself.
Hello, Mr. Shady.
Hi.
Hi. Let me share my photo.
Okay, tell me about it. Is it your photo or your friend's photo? Abdullah, are you there? Abdullah, are you there?
Yeah, sorry. There is
Okay.
a message that only the host can share in this meeting.
Oh, okay. No, tell us about it. We don't have to see it. Just tell us about it.
Actually, this photo was taken a year ago. I was delivering a workshop on argumentative essay writing.
Oh, wow. Wonderful.
Okay. And
right.
in the photo, there were a group of teachers who were working together to write a thesis statement.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love that. And why is this picture so much related to your heart? Why do you like it so much?
Actually, it was my first workshop, okay, and it was a very successful one, as the attendants told me.
Wonderful. Okay, so it was very good experience, though it was the first time.
Yeah,
right. I mean, I guess those experiences can never be forgotten. Right, wonderful. Okay, let me listen to another one, and I have Isra Eid. Yes, Isra?
Yes, Dr. Shady.
Unmute yourself, Isra. Yes.
Okay, I'm muted. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a picture of a friend. He shared it with us.
Good.
He said he visited a farm. It belongs to one of his friends.
Excellent.
He was in Kuwait, in Wafra. He likes horses and farming and so on. So his friend had a farm. He had the picture. He was standing next to a horse, and he enjoyed his time a lot with his friends. He took it about 2 years ago.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Okay, lovely, Jabli. So
Okay.
good.
Thank you.
I'm sure that you've got a lot of wonderful stories to tell us. Okay, this guy pressing on the horn out there. God's sake. Okay, lovely. It's Egypt anyway. Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that you have wonderful stories to tell about the pictures you've seen. But now let's go back to teachers. We're teachers now. We're not students anymore. So what we need to do is to think about this activity from an analytical point of view. So I'm going to share a handout with you, and we're going to analyze this activity that we've just done together and see whether we can use it in a practical way in our classes or not. Okay, I'm going to kill this guy pressing on the horn down there, but I'm trying to hold my horses. Okay, anyway, right, let me share the screen with you. Right. Come on, stop it for God's sake. Man, those people, unbelievable. Right. Okay, now let me just show you this. Okay, well, I've changed my location because, I mean, those people started shouting out there and fighting together. Someone might be dead in a minute, but anyway, so, okay, so I hope you can see this. This is what I call a grid, right? And this grid will be used now to analyze the activity that we've just seen. This first activity is called a personal picture. Now, what I want you to think about along with your friends is, what did we focus on in this activity, which is a personal picture? Skills or language? What I mean by skills, as I said before, we have 4 skills: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. And when it comes to language, we have 5 systems: vocabulary, grammar, function, discourse, pronunciation. So I want you to think about this. So tell me, what do we focus on in this activity you've just seen? And then think about the level. And I'm talking here about the level, not the age, because this input session is designed for adults. So I'm talking about one age here, adult students, 19 years old or more, okay? But what I want you to focus on here is the level of your students. Is this activity suitable for beginners, elementary, pre-intermediate, intermediate, you name it? So I want you to think about this as well. I also want you to think about the advantages of this activity and think also about the disadvantages of this activity. So all what you need to do is to think about only the first item, which is a personal picture, okay? Right. Now, you can see handout 2 on your WhatsApp message, so I don't have to keep sharing the screen. So you go to your WhatsApp, you have the handouts with you, open it, and you will have a discussion with your friends. Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to send you to the rooms. This time you will discuss as teachers, not as students. Think about all what we did with the activity, okay? And try to take notes, okay, on a notebook and discuss with your friends. Then we'll come back to the main session and see what you've discussed together. So let me send you to the breakout rooms, and let me change the partners so you have new partners every now and then. Okay, so again, 40 rooms one more time. Let's go.
كده الصوت بتاعي يوصل لهم.
Are we still in breakout rooms or what?
I was in a break room, but I have lost it. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I was in a breaking room, but I lost it.
Yes, me too. I lost connection and I was out of the meeting itself, not only the breakout room.
I returned to the meeting, but not.
Okay, everyone, soon we'll be back to the main session. I'll just bring your friends from the rooms. Okay?
Unfortunately, I have lost the room.
Oh, okay. Then you will have time, okay, during the plenary to discuss everything about the activities. No worry.
Thanks a lot.
It was great, wonderful.
Okay, lovely jubbly. I guess people are back in the rooms. Right. Now let's talk together about this activity that we've just done. And it's called a personal picture. That's the name of the activity. And let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen, about the skills. What skills are there in this activity? And please, as usual, as I said before, raise a hand, okay, using the Zoom feature, So, oh yes, I've got here Tasneem Taimur. Yes, Tasneem.
About the skills, I think speaking and listening, because they will have a chance to speak about themselves. And at the same time, the rest of the student is going to hear.
Wonderful answer. I really love this. And let me add some more comments on what Tasneem has just said. Yes, it's actually the main aim of this very short lesson is speaking. Okay, so that's the main focus. Is there listening? I would say yes, there is a bit of listening in there. Okay, so if there is a speaking, there must be listening as well. But the main focus, the main aim is speaking. Lovely, good answer. So let me move to Yasmina Imad. Yasmina, tell me.
Hello. I think it's very good for writing and speaking and getting to benefit from each other experience. If I'm gonna talk about my own picture and then others talk about their own experience, then we can get new vocabulary.
Excellent, excellent, very good. So again, yes, very true. I mean, yes, we're focusing on speaking, like speaking comes as number one in this activity, but of course there is a bit of listening. But here, Yasmina is adding that we can use it for writing as well. And I wouldn't say no to that, because imagine that you finished your discussions. You can only say to your students, now, I want you to start writing about your picture or your friend's picture. And this is when students start moving the activity from just speaking to writing. Okay, so wonderful. Good point here. And let me listen to Iman Abdul Mun'im. Unmute yourself, Iman.
Okay. Is it okay?
Yes, yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. I think the skills that we used, as you said, and the name before, we used speaking and, of course, listening. Okay. We also used writing skills. We were writing while she was speaking, and we are listening. We were writing also. Okay. So we used writing skills. The label we used was for adults. Okay, and our friend shared us a nice picture for her lovely, lovely daughter. Okay, and I love this picture so much. As I said before in breaking room, her name is Alice, so I call the picture Alice and Alex.
Okay, okay, lovely.
Yeah, it was. I like the name. Okay, we talked about that moment and that the limited moment that mom took this photo for her daughter, because
Lovely.
she saw a very nice smile on her daughter's face. So I hope that you saw this picture, doctor. You will love her, I'm sure.
I'm
Okay.
sure, yeah, I'm sure I would. But let me add something, Iman. So as long as you love the activity so much, what would be the advantages that you would say about this activity? Like, can you give me some bullet points on the advantages?
Yeah, the advantage here that we talked about our memory. The first thing that someone talk about her memory. Okay, that also we make in a 3 or 4 minutes a short story about a lovely time that they spent in Alexandria, and we also used tenses. We used also variety of words here
Okay,
or
so
vocabulary.
there are a lot of advantages coming from you here. So let me just arrange them one by one. I would talk about the first one when you said memories. So I would say this is what we call in English language teaching personalization.
Yeah.
So this is a very personalized activity, which makes it really motivating. So I would say personalized,
Yeah.
okay? And number two, motivating, because it helps you to speak. You want to speak when you see those pictures. Lovely.
Yeah.
So I'll leave you there, Iman, and give the floor to someone else. And let me listen to, I have here Muhammad Antar. Yes, Muhammad?
Okay. Hey. So my point is, who is it suitable for? Like beginners, intermediate. So I think it even works for beginners if they can form very simple sentences using simple grammar rules. So why not?
Okay, Muhammad. So what I would say about this, I would say I pretty much agree with most of Muhammad's answer, because yes, this activity would work from elementary, okay, and more. And remember, you can always make the text about the picture more difficult by adding more complicated grammatical structures. So I'd say, well, that's a very good activity for elementary and more. But for beginners, I would be a bit, because when we talk about beginners, we're talking here about very, very weak students. I mean, they're like zero in the language, okay, and they're at the very beginning, okay, of the learning process. So I wouldn't go to beginners, but I would say elementary and more. Lovely. So now, back to advantages. I want some people to tell. I have Mona El Ghanem. Mona, can you tell me more about the advantages of this activity?
Yeah, well, actually, I think that it's very good in building rapport because sharing anecdotes with students build rapport really well.
Excellent. I love this so much. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's very personalized, and you feel like, wow, I know something about my teacher. It really builds rapport. This is very important. And it also allows us to share exchange cultural experiences. When I tell you about my country, you tell me about yours. I see something like the baboon from the South Africa. It makes us, globalizing with each other.
Oh, love that. Okay. Well, I mean, wonderful. So Mona here is adding two wonderful points, okay, to the list we have. Number one, it's a very good ice-breaking activity, because I do agree with her, because again, you tend to tell more information about yourself to your friends. So it might work as a GTKY or getting to know you activity. She's also talking about, about this activity as a wonderful cultural activity. Do agree with as well, because pictures carry a lot of culture, and this would make people understand each other's, more easily. Wonderful. So one last comment on the advantages from Negwa Mustafa. Yes, Negwa.
Okay. I know this for adults, but I can use it with young learners to pay their attention and make them more active. I can use pictures with young learners.
Oh, well, I'm not an expert on teaching young learners, I can say, but of course, there is something that is well known that young learners love pictures and they're crazy about them. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah. So I guess with some adaptation, the activity would work with young learners. Okay, depending, of course, on which level.
I think they need more activities, more than adults.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. Right. Thank you so much, Negwa. Right. Now, moving from advantages, let's talk a bit about the disadvantages of this activity. What would be the disadvantages? Raise your hands if you have a comment on this. I can see Iman Yousef want to add something. Yes, Iman.
Hello, Mr. Shady.
Hi.
I have I think only one point in this section.
Yes.
Students who have some problems in communication skills would have some problems in that activity. Especially students who feel shy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And especially talking about themselves, talking about their personal pictures, that would be more shy, more difficult for them.
Excellent. Totally agree with you on this one. I'd say, yeah, this activity, okay, because so personalized, would be a bit difficult for shy students because, again, they tend to talk about the personal pictures and stuff like that. So, yeah, I do agree. That's a disadvantage. Wonderful. Okay. So let me move to, 1 second. Yes, let me move to Saeed. Yes,
Yes, Mr. Shady, I want to say the same point that some shy students may face problems in the presentation or talking about themselves. And another point that I think the personalized pictures activity will be time consuming a little bit because most of the students would like to share their experience and they will be so excited to talk about their story.
Well, look, I'm really happy with this point here that you raised this point. Okay, so talking about time-consuming activities. Now, if we're talking about how much time would the students take in the speaking task itself, I would say you can assign for this activity kind of 5 minutes. So students can finish the activity in 5 minutes. The other stages that we handled before getting to the activity itself, okay, were parts of the whole lesson. What I mean is that the whole lesson was based on a picture. Only the speaking activity was when you got this picture from your mobile and you started telling your friends about it. And I don't think that would take much time. However, if you feel that one student might be dominant and leaving no opportunity for the other students to speak, then one thing you can do is that you divide the time between students. So you would say that you've got 2 minutes to speak about your picture, and then 2 minutes for you to speak about your picture, and you might set a timer and get students to stick to it. So that's one thing you can do here. Now, so let's move now from this activity. Thank you very much for sharing the wonderful ideas. And let's move to another activity now. And let me tell you about this. Just give me 1 second here. I'll share something with you.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what I want you to do, ladies and gentlemen, I want you now to close your eyes. Okay. And, oh, I can see that Gihad has already closed her eyes. That was fast, Gihad, mashallah. Right, okay, lovely. Now, I want you to close your eyes, and then I'll be dictating a story, okay? So I want you to listen to this story I'm dictating carefully, because later I'll be asking you some more questions about it, right? Just listen carefully and try to remember. So it's a kind of a memory activity here. Okay, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Are we ready? Okay, so let's go through this. Just, okay, let me start. Right. Okay, now everybody close your eyes. Yes, you are on your own at home. Well, I mean, everybody's at home now, isn't it? That's funny, right? Anyway, so and we're talking about imagination. It's reality now. Everybody is at home. Anyway, so again, close your eyes. Imagine this: you are on your own at home now. Perhaps you're in your bedroom reading a book or watching television in the living room. Ask individuals which room, okay? So yes, now listen. You hear the front door open and someone walks in. Someone that you live with, such as a flatmate, your son, your mother. Just imagine. So again, you hear the front door open and someone walks in. Someone that you live with, such as a flatmate, your son or your mother. You see this person walk into the kitchen, put something down on the table, probably bags of shopping, and this person walks over to the fridge, open it, and then scream. Right, okay. So now you can open your eyes now. I can see that some faithful people are still closing their eyes, mashallah. Very honest. Right, so I'd say, so now you're on your own at home and you hear someone you're living with walking inside your flat, go into the kitchen. Once your friend opened the kitchen, he started screaming, okay? What I want you to think about now, why do you think your friend screamed when he opened the fridge? So I'll give you 1 minute to think on your own about reasons why your friend screamed when he opened the fridge, right? Okay, think about this. I guess it is time to check your guesses. And it's Ma'ruf. Okay, so tell me, Ma'ruf, why do you think the guy was screaming?
Maybe he found it empty.
Oh yeah, well, that's a very
For
good
me,
reason.
it's a reason to scream and maybe to kill someone.
Especially in these days, eh? Because if the fridge is empty these days, you can't leave home and get some food.
What will we do? What will we do?
Exactly. Right. Okay. So good point. So let me ask someone else. I can see Hiba Mus'ad. Yes, Hiba.
Well, I think maybe he found his bottle of water, of cold water, is empty. So
Okay.
in a hot day, it's a horrible thing.
So no cold water on a hot day. Okay. Wonderful. Well, nice. Other ideas? Let me go to. Let me check with someone raising a hand. Aya Sharif. Yes, Aya.
Okay, so I think that maybe he discovered that he forgot to bring something necessary, like for example, eggs, for example, some juice or stuff like that. So he has to go shopping again to bring what he actually forgot to bring.
Okay. So Aya is saying that he might forgot to bring something important. Okay. And he might have to go shopping again. Why not? Maybe that might be a good reason. So let me go to Ahmed Al-Ghamri. Yes, Ahmed.
Maybe someone forget his the TV remote sensor or his mobile phone in the fridge.
Yeah, I love this one. Okay. I guess my kids can do that. I mean, I do trust they can do this. Love this idea. Okay. One last comment on this one before we reveal the big secret. Okay, so let me go to Hala Sharawi. Yes, Hala.
Hello.
Yes.
With me, he put my phone in the fridge there, in the freezer. When I got out, and I surprised my phone in the fridge there in the freezer, and it's completely cold.
So it really happened to you.
Yeah.
This is a true story.
Yeah, true story. Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
My
oh
daughter,
my Lord.
My daughter did it with me.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing this with us. Okay, now, so let me get back. Let me show you. I mean, the real reason behind this scream that we were talking about, and I will share this picture with you. Okay, and then we'll talk a bit about it. Ready? Let's go. 1 sec. Okay, okie dokie. Dun, 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 dun. Right, dun, dun, dun. Oh, yeah, okay. So I guess now you know why the guy was screaming. There was a bloody elephant in a fridge. Okay, what a shock. Now, I am going to show you the note, okay, that the man left for his friend on the fridge. But the problem that his friend didn't read the note, so he didn't know why the elephant got in the fridge. So let me show you this coming handout. Okay. What do we have there? Okay, so let me share this with you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, look at this. Right. Now, it says, dear, if you open the fridge, be prepared for a surprise. There is an elephant inside. There is a perfectly good explanation for this. Right. So I guess you know your job now. You're going to complete this note, and you need to write a very good reason why there is an elephant in the fridge. Okay? So I will give you kind of 3 minutes to finish this activity. Usually it's not the time, of course, I would give for students, but your teachers, right? So let's accelerate this quickly. Okay, so write as much as you can. I'll give you 3 minutes, work on your own. Okay, try to complete this. Again, this is handout number.
Excuse me?
Yes, please.
Is it dead or alive?
Is it dead or alive? That's women's thinking.
Thank you.
احنا هنطبخ كده الزلومه بتاعته ولا ايه؟
What to do if it's alive? Okay, I can use a bit of imagination here.
No, the elephant is alive. Okay, it's not for cooking. Good.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll leave you to think on your own. Handout 4 is available on WhatsApp. I can see Walid Ali want to say something. Unmute.
Actually, no. Actually, no. I'm just listening. I'm following you. Okay.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, mate. Right. Okay. So go to the activity, ladies and gentlemen. Now.
How we can write on this page?
Oh, you can use your own notebook. It doesn't have to be the same page.
Yeah.
Do we have to think about rational reasons, Dr. Shady?
Well, there is nothing rational about this, you know. I mean, if you have a crazy reason, no problem, right?
Okay.
I would be happy.
Okay. Okay.
Is it a true story, mister?
Please raise your hands once you finish. If you feel that you finish, just raise your hands on Zoom.
I just want to ask if to make sure, is the animal alive or dead?
Well, it is bloody alive. Stop thinking about cooking the animals, ladies, if you please.
Okay, then he's alive. Okay.
A lot of plans are going on for eating this poor animal, right?
Yeah, the pet. Poor pet.
I think it is a toy. Is it a toy? Not a real.
Unmute your mic.
Yes.
But definitely it can be a toy.
I think it is a toy, not a real elephant.
Well, it's up to
all
you.
around.
I mean, that's your job, not mine. You try to find a good reason why there is an elephant in the fridge, right? Okay, so okay,
Look,
everybody.
before food.
Okay, everyone. Look.
Maybe it's an idiom. Maybe it's an idiom or an expression.
No. Don't think like a teacher. It is a real elephant in the fridge. So, okay, let's go crazy here. So, what I'm going to do now, I will send you to breakout rooms. You're going to share with your friends what reasons you have for having this animal in the fridge. And then we'll talk together in the plenary. So let me send you to the rooms.
لا في الأوضة فلوس.
Okay, let's have 37 rooms this time. Bye-bye. See you there.
You.
Hi everyone.
Yes, who's there?
Yeah, this is me, Sarah.
Okay, Sarah, do you have a problem? Oh, you haven't. I will assign you to a room, Sarah.
Oh, okay.
You've been assigned now.
Meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
Okay, so once everybody is back from the breakout room, we're going to continue and talk about some of the wonderful ideas I heard in the rooms. I heard fantastic ideas. I can't wait to tell you about them. Oh my Lord. Okay. Unbelievable. Right. Okay, okay, ladies and gentlemen, right, I've heard a lot of reasons why an elephant might be in the fridge, and people were discussing amazing ideas. I still remember some of the discussion I heard in the room. Wonderful lady was thinking about cooking the elephant's head. That was like great, you know, like imagine this, mahshi khartoum and all that stuff, you know. I mean, life is full of crazy things. But anyway, let me listen to some reasons and raise your hands if you have something to say. And let me go to Hiba Hiba al-Tahawi. Right.
Yes, hello, Mr. Shady, Dr. Shady, hello.
Hi.
I think this person lives near to a jungle or something like this.
Okay.
And so while he was walking, he saw this elephant bleeding because of one wild animal attacked him.
Okay.
He want to be safe, to make himself safe because of hot temperature. He took it to the fridge and put it there.
Okay. Look at this nice lady here. That's a wonderful reason. But other people were thinking, Hiba, about cooking the elephant. Can you imagine this?
Okay. nice imagination.
At least you're trying to save the animal, right? Okay, good.
I can't believe this. How to cook an elephant?
Okay, now let's move to someone else. Abdurrahman Deep. Yes, Abdurrahman.
Yeah, hello, Dr. Khalid.
Hi.
Dr. Shadi, sorry. My opinion is close to the previous opinion, and I think he was walking through the forest. It was very hot and sunny there, so he brought the elephant to feel cool in the fridge.
Oh, okay, okay. Nice. That's a good reflection about what is happening to us here in summer.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, good reason. So let me move to, let me ask who. Yeah, I can see Fatma Mutawi. Yes, Fatma.
Yes, hello, Dr. Shady.
Hi.
Very nice to be with you today.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, from my point of view, I think that his friend may make lots of pranks before, and he wanted to stop him forever from doing such pranks for him. Do you understand?
Okay. So can you say that again, please?
Okay, I think that his friend may make lots of pranks.
Okay.
And he wanted to stop him forever because he make lots of these things before. And
okay, so this is a kind of a punishment, eh?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
Mr. Shady, may I say something?
Yeah, yeah, please.
Rabha Abdullah. I'm Rabha Abdullah.
Welcome. Happy to hear from you.
Yeah, me too. I think he ran away or wants to hide from Chinese people. He will eat him.
Yeah, yeah.
He will eat who?
They will eat him, the elephant. Chinese people eat everything. Move.
Okay, but elephants don't eat people, Rabha. Where do you get your information from?
No, the elephant hid from people, Chinese people in my home. He know I will not eat him.
Oh my gosh, right. Okay, cool. Thank you very much, everyone. Now it is time to get back to our discussions as teachers. Now, in the previous activity, we talked about speaking as the main skill we focused on. Now the scenario is different with the second one. Let me share the screen with you and let's have a look at this. This is the second activity and it is called What's in There. So the first one was a personal picture. Now the second one, it is What's in There. So now it is time for you to discuss. Just give me 1 second here. Because my bloody laptop might die at any time. Okay. Guess I'll be safe now. Okay, right. Now, so what I want you to do in order not to waste your time, think about the second part here. What's in there? Think about the skills and language, level, advantages and disadvantages. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I'll send you to rooms one more time, discuss with your friends, and then we'll talk about this, right? And again, you do have this handout, which is handout 2 on WhatsApp. So you can always bring it on your laptop, right? Okay. So let me send you to a bit bigger groups now. So we're going to have kind of only 30 rooms. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Right. Okay.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. So back on track one more time. Right. Let's continue. Let's talk about the second activity, which is what's in there. So we talked about the first one, which is the personal picture. And now we're talking about what's in there. Now, let me ask you about the first thing, which is skills or systems. Please raise your hand if you have an answer for this. Okay, so let me listen to Rami Zain. Yes, Rami.
Hello, Mr. Shady.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too.
Yeah, I think it's maybe it's intermediate or upper intermediate because it needs a big imagination to think about the picture. And also we can use speaking and writing in this activity because you need to write the story before you talking about it. So you can talk about it or speak about it easily. Also, I want to say the advantage of this activity. It's warming. It's very exciting. Give you imagination and good talk about something that you want to talk about. And
So,
this, yeah.
Let me stop you there, Rami, and take part of what you said.
Yeah.
You mentioned, as for the skills and systems, you said writing, and I do agree. Writing here is on the top of the list. In the previous activity, speaking was on the top of the list. So in the personal picture, the main aim is speaking, but in this one, the main aim is writing. Yes, there are other skills, as you said. Speaking could be there, okay, no problem. Because again, you're going to tell each other about, the reasons you came up with, and this is a sort of also speaking. There might be a bit of grammar, okay, a bit of functional language, because again, part of functional language is given reasons why the elephant was in the fridge. So students might need, okay, some expression that would help them express reasons. So that would be also functional language. But mainly, it is a writing activity. Now, moving from there to the level, and let me listen to Rasha Al-Mugi. Yes, Rasha.
Yes, doctor. Okay, I think it would be suitable for intermediate and above, because here we are dealing with more skills than the other activity. So that's my point of view.
Okay, so you're sharing Zain the same views nearly. So let me move and listen to another idea. Okay, so going to I can see who's raising another hand. Right, I can see, yes, Ahmed Al-Ghamri. Yes, Ahmed.
I think it's suitable for elementary students too, because they can use their simple vocab to talk or to imagine a story. Okay. And about the skills, I see that writing is the main aim and from this activity. Then speaking and listening. And about the language, there's grammar and pronunciation.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Ahmed. Let me get back here to you people and talk a bit about this. As for levels, I would say elementary and more. So it's not that difficult for elementary students. And remember that you can always adapt things. And elementary students would be using also simple language to express reasons and stuff like that. So they don't have to use complicated language. So I would say elementary, of course, not beginner, but starting elementary and more, this activity is practical and doable. Right, now moving to advantages. What would be the advantages of this activity? And let me move to, I'm sorry, I only see the name English Vessel. So you can tell us about the name, yes? Unmute yourself, please.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I think the main advantage or the main aim of this amazing activity is to keep my students attentive all the session. I think concerning skills, the four skills can be involved here in this activity, but writing come up at the top of these activities.
Okay, so you think it's an interesting one, right?
Yeah, it's great. It's amazing one. It's a suspensing. It's full of suspense.
Okay, good. Right. So let's add this to the advantages. I do agree with our friend here. So I'd say, yes, it's an interesting activity. Okay. So what else could be an advantage? Ahmed Tawfiq?
Yes. It's the main advantage of this activity is we can keep our students attentive all the sessions. The four skills can be involved here in this activity, but writing come at the top of these skills. I think the students will be extremely attentive with me, as it's full of suspense.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Ahmed. I would
just
say.
called me Mr. Shady.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yes. English vessel. Yes. Please.
English vessel. Yes, it's my channel. The name of my channel, and my name is Mahmoud. I'm sorry.
Mahmoud. Welcome, Mahmoud. Yes.
Yeah. I think if we would like to share the idea, why could we put the elephant in the fridge? I think I learned it when when I learned or upper intermediate and above, not elementary. Intermediate or upper intermediate and above, because it's about critical thinking and about more and more about speaking English.
But let me ask you a question here. Can you make it easier so that even elementary students can answer the question by giving crazy reasons?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the idea is.
So it depends about the teacher.
Yes.
Okay. It depends
wonderful.
about the teacher. Maybe the teacher facilitate the idea and can make a question. That's right.
I do agree with you on this one. So let's say something that one of the advantages of this activity is that it is adaptable. So we can add this. So we say interesting, adaptable, and we can also add funny. So interesting, adaptable, funny, and productive. What do we mean by productive? Students do something. They either speak or write, because these are productive activities, right? And of course, productive activities are very important for communication. Let me move to, I want to listen to Monty. Yes, Montasser? Unmute yourself, Monty.
I was thinking that this activity, although it's practical and doable, I think it's quite challenging to beginners because it involves critical thinking. I mean, this sort of questions that you may encounter in an interview, how you can get a fridge into, how you can get an elephant into a fridge. Actually, the best answer would like resorting to a comical answer, right? Because it's not a real scenario. So I think it, yeah, it would be quite challenging for elementary. It involves like some figurative language, and this is not a skill that elementary students would have.
Well, I hate it when, when interviewers do this, and start asking you those, like unbelievable questions about, what would you do if you were a piece of a cucumber in a plate of salad and all those, terrible questions. Like, anyway, right. But I would say, I would insist that with adaptation, it can work with different levels. And this is the beauty of this activity here. So again, and we don't have to force elementary students to produce difficult structures. Still, even elementary students, they're adults. They can always think of crazy reasons why an elephant is inside the fridge. The main problem will be expressing this using complicated structures. Okay, right. Now moving to disadvantages. Okay, and I want to listen to you. What do you think the disadvantages of this activity are? And let me move to Wala Sadani. Yes, Wala. Unmute yourself, Wala. Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Wala.
How are you doing?
Hi.
I'm very happy. Yeah. Actually, I'm very happy to attend the meeting with my brain is dull. It makes me
Happy to see
and I
you.
don't miss you Allah, and I don't miss all of you Allah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're happy to have you here.
Okay, thank you so much. So I think the disadvantages maybe if we have a large class, uh, uh, maybe in that case we can like do something like make them into groups and ask students to make the story together. But this is, I think, it's some maybe it's like some kind of difficult to set up.
Yeah, but think about the disadvantages of asking students to write a story together. And I would say, number one, it's unnatural because in reality, writing is a very personal thing to do.
Yeah.
We write on our own, we don't write in groups. So think about this one first. A second one, if you ask the students to write together, they tend to depend on stronger students.
On each other, yeah. Yes, that's what I said, because it's not adaptable in a large class.
Okay, so again, what I would say is more than this. Think and let me listen to Iman. Thank you, Wala, on this one. Let me listen to Iman. Iman Abdul Mun'im, yes. Unmute yourself, Iman.
Okay, so it's okay?
Yes, so that's okay now.
First of all, I agree with you completely that we can deal with elementary, upper, at the same time, and it depends on the teacher who can facilitate every point to the student. Okay. Second point here, disadvantages that I found in this activity that I think because of students have to use their imagination, so they will face some difficulties in finding some vocabulary to express about their ideas.
Okay. And what would you do in this scenario if they don't have the right vocabulary? What would you do as a teacher?
I can use very simple vocab and I can write them down, and I can say use these words to express your ideas, just as a kind of help for them.
Yeah,
okay.
I would add to what you're saying, Iman, here, that when we're teaching writing, there is always a stage that we call genre analysis. And in the genre analysis stage, this is when we provide the students with the ideas they want and the language they need. So one thing we can do is that if we think that this vocabulary is so essential for answering the activity, then this is the time that we need to give this vocabulary to students. Yes. So tell me more.
I think also the idea that they must use their imagination. I think that they will find some difficulties, as I said. Okay, they can't give me more ideas.
But let me say something here. If we're talking about imagination, yes. Oh, so I love this party. So you think that some students, okay, are not very imaginative?
Yes, I think so.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's a good disadvantage. So we might write this. It is difficult sometimes for students to imagine. Okay. Yes. So that's one good thing. And I would add to this as well, okay, as long as we're talking about this. So we might add to the disadvantages of the activity that stronger students can finish so quickly. So the activity can be frustrating for weaker students, because you might find, students who finished quickly while other students, okay, cannot do it. The third one, some students might not see how this activity would help them in reality. And they would think that it's a kind of a game. So they would say, why do we have to write about something like this? And this is a disadvantage as well. So students would say, why do I have to find a reason for an elephant in the fridge? I wouldn't need this in reality. So again, that's a disadvantage. So resistance from students, early finishes because they're very strong, and also as we said, so we talked about, okay, let me admit someone here. Right, so we talked about early finishes, And we talked also about students' resistance to the activity. Now, let's move to another activity.
Dr. Shady, would you allow me to add a point?
Yes, Sarah, yes.
Okay. First of all, it's my pleasure to be with you right
Thank you
now.
so much. The pleasure is mine, yes.
Regarding those who are resisting, we can give them the rationale behind the activity. So we can fix this problem.
Excellent solution. I'd say, yeah, if students, if you feel like if you're teaching a group of managers and they're all coming to your class wearing suits and ties and they're very serious, and then you ask them, I want you to find a reason why an elephant is in the fridge, and then they go, what elephant and what fridge, for God's sake, right? I mean, we're not here for this. And then you need to give them a rationale why you're running this activity, or there will be much resistance on this side. Because remember, we're talking here about teaching adults, and adults might be people your age or even older. So we're not talking about young learners or teens, right? Let me listen to the gentleman. A gentleman is raising a hand here, but the gentleman wearing red, because I can't read your name, it's not written. Yes, please.
So I just would like to add some points.
So what's your name, please?
Me, Mahmoud.
Mahmoud, yes, welcome, Mahmoud.
Yes.
Because every time I try to give you the floor, I don't see the name. Please.
Right. No, never mind.
Listen to the gentleman. A gentleman is raising a hand here, but the gentleman wearing red, because I can't read your name, it's not written. Yes, please. I'm sorry. Let me mute everyone and then give. What's your name, please?
Me, Mahmoud.
Mahmoud, yes, welcome. Okay, so back to you, Mahmoud. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Mr. Shah.
No, it's okay.
Okay, I think that point that we started to discuss, it's about the clever teachers. It depends. I taught some students from starter.
I can't hear.
Okay, I'm sorry. Who's this? Well, there is someone who's this. I mean, I'm sorry. We don't interrupt each other's here. Okay. So, so excuse me. Let's give the floor to Mahmoud, and then later I'll give the floor to someone else. Okay.
Okay. So it depends on a clever teacher or a clever instructor. So
okay.
as I told before, from starter to upper intermediate or intermediate, I focus that everyone should, before the session itself, I should start to figure and pick up some skills that can work with that level. For example, maybe for example, in a session, as you said before, I said to upper intermediate or intermediate students, I asked them, imagine yourself, you are in the middle of the sea in the desert island, and just write an essay about that or paragraph. Some people figure that why we can imagine ourselves in the middle of the sea while we are here in the land.
Okay, yeah, I mean, yes, some adult students keep asking for reasons. Okay, thank you so much, Mahmoud. Let me get back to just one second. Hello, I just want to give the floor to the gentleman here wearing.
Hello.
Red. Yes. Yes, excuse me.
Yes, I'm Shaima.
Yes, Shaima.
I think one of the most disadvantages of this activity, it leads the learners to stop learning because most of learners, they are afraid of taking the risk because they lead them to failure. So I have to make sure the level of my learners before starting this activity.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, I do agree with you, Shaima, but this goes for every activity, not only this one. We have to make sure before we give an activity to our student that it is suitable for the level. So that would goes for everything. Now, let me move now.
Can I add?
Okay, so I'm sorry to stop the discussion on this activity for now because we have to jump to the coming one, okay? And then we might talk about these activities later. Right now, let's go to the coming one here and let me share the screen. So give me 1 second. Okay. In this coming activity, I will be describing a picture. Your job is to listen carefully to my description. So I will describe once, and then I will describe again. So I'll do this how many times? Twice. You need to remember my description carefully, because later I will be asking you, okay, some questions related to this. So are we ready? I don't want you to write down what I'm saying. I just want you to listen and try to remember. So let me ask you some ICQs here. So are you going to write what I would dictate?
No.
No, not right. Okay, good. Are you going to listen carefully?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yes.
Okay.
Lovely, jubbly. Okay, get ready then. Okay. Let me just mute everyone so that you can listen carefully. Right. So I will start describing the picture. Focus. This is a black and white photograph that was taken in 1939 at London Zoo. We see a young Chinese photographer called Ming taking a photograph of his friend Mike, a little English boy. Mike is on the right-hand side of the photograph. He's sitting on a chair wearing black shorts and a long-sleeve t-shirt with a collar. Ming is on the left. His camera is on a tripod, but since Ming is not very tall, he's standing on a chair to reach it. So that's the description, and I'm going to say it again. So listen carefully and try to remember all the features of the picture. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let me say this again. Right. This is a black and white photograph that was taken in 1939 at London Zoo. We see a young Chinese photographer called Ming taking a photograph of his friend Mike, a little English boy. Mike is on the right-hand side of the photograph. He's sitting on a chair wearing black shorts and a long-sleeve t-shirt with a collar. Ming is on the left. His camera is on a tripod, but since Ming is not very tall, he's standing on a chair to reach it. Okay. Good, good, good. So now what I want you to do is to remember this text I have just dictated and write it from your memory. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so yes, exactly. I know it's bloody difficult, Yusra, but I trust you.
Easy أصلا.
So
easy جدا.
Okay, so do I say it one last time? One last.
It's very short and nice.
Okay. One last time, but please don't write. Just wait till I finish and then you will restructure it.
Okay.
I'm muting everyone again. Right. This is a black and white photograph that was taken in 1939 at London Zoo. We see a young Chinese photographer called Ming taking a photograph of his friend Mike, a little English boy. Mike is on the right-hand side of the photograph. He's sitting on a chair wearing black shorts and a long-sleeve t-shirt with a collar. Ming is on the left. His camera is on a tripod, but since Ming is not very tall, he's standing on a chair to reach it. Lovely, jubbly. Now, I will leave the time for you to restructure this text. You have 2 minutes to finish this. Okay? Enjoy. Please raise your hands when you finish. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, dun 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 dun. Okay, um, I'll be sending you now. I know that some of you haven't finished yet, but no worries. It is time now to help each other and discuss together. You will try to restructure, okay, this passage I dictated a minute ago, and compare your ideas and compare your texts, okay, and see which one is closer to the version I gave you at the very beginning. So let me move you to the breakout rooms, okay, and we're going to have 30 rooms as last time, right? Now enjoy. See you there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the main session, or the plenary as we call it. Right. So let me just make sure that everybody is mute so that we can hear some kids crawling around, okay, and cats and all kinds of noise. Lovely. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, if you focus, you will see that activity number one, which is the personal picture, was focused on speaking. Activity number two was focusing on writing. What about this activity? What is it focusing on? Okay, I'll show you the text to compare it with your answers, but let me just get that from you. What is the main thing that we focused on in this activity? Anyone? Let me listen to Aya Muhammad.
Okay.
Listening.
Yes, Aya.
I do believe it's listening.
Oh, yes. Excellent answer, Aya. Yes, that's the main skill actually we target in this activity, okay, which is listening. So the first one was speaking. Second one, main focus was writing. And in the third one, the main focus is actually listening. Now, let me show you the text. And I want you now to compare how close your text was from mine. Are you ready? Let's do this. I'll give you 1 minute to look at it, or half a minute. Okay. Remember that this is also available for you in the handouts I sent on your WhatsApp groups. Right. But again, now it is time to see the picture we were describing, okay? Because I was describing a picture that you didn't see, right? And this activity is called the mental picture. Why do we call it a mental picture? Because it is a picture that you need to imagine, because I haven't shown you the picture. I was just describing it. So it is time to see whether the mental picture
to visualize.
I'm sorry?
To visualize it?
Yeah, to visualize it, yes. Okay, so let's see whether the picture you had in your head was any closer to the real thing, okay? Now, let me stop the sharing here and share another picture with you. Okay, let's have a look. And here we are.
No bloody way.
Right. Okay. It's a bit surprising that, you know, the photographer was a panda.
Oh my God. No one imagined that.
Okay, right. I'm full of surprises. Right. Okay, so actually, so it's a panda taking a picture of a young British boy. Right. Wonderful. Now let's move to the to the analysis of this.
Panda? Really?
Yes, panda. Yeah, I'm sorry that if this was very surprising.
Really?
Right.
Yeah, he's a
I
Chinese.
want you to go to handout 2, everyone, and we're going to discuss this together this time so that we save a bit more time here. And if you have something to say, please raise your hands, because if you speak without raising your hands, it confuses everyone, because remember, teaching online is a bit different. I wouldn't ask you to raise your hands when you want to say something if we are in a face-to-face classroom, because you're adults. However, we have to stick to this here so that it is more organized. So it's kind of Zoom classroom management, right? Good. So now what I'm going to do now let's talk about the analysis. So if we're talking about the mental picture activity, we said that the main skill is listening. What other skills were practiced? And let me get back to the gentleman here. Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah, I think speaking too.
Okay, wonderful. In what way did we practice speaking?
So, through listening, we listen first, then we use our imagination to create the story, to guess what inside the picture, to create the picture inside our minds, and then we went to write it down. We use some descriptive sentences while writing.
I love that. You said something important here. You said we use some descriptive language, which means that also something that we focused on is vocabulary in terms of descriptive adjectives, right? Yeah. So vocabulary is good. Also descriptive language, that would be part of functional language. That's another focus. So I love this. Speaking is when I asked you to discuss together how you reconstructed the text. Okay, yeah. But above all, as we said, number one on the top is the listening part. Thank you. So can you tell me about your name, because I can't read it?
Mamadou.
Mamadou.
Mamadou, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Mamadou. Thank you very much for your input here. Okay, let's move now. So to someone else, and let's talk about the level. And I can see. Wait a minute. I can see Nermeen Abdel Qawi. Yes, Nermeen. Nermeen, are you there?
Yeah, I believe that it's suitable for the intermediate level and above.
Okay, right. I would say about this that it is actually suitable for elementary and more. How? You can always adapt the picture. Think about this. It doesn't have to be a complicated picture all the time. It could be a very simple picture that needs very simple language. So this is up to the teacher. However, the idea itself would work, okay, with elementary and more. Not with beginners, but starting elementary, that would work for you. But always think about the level of your students. So let me move from there to advantages and disadvantages. And let me ask Abir Salah. Yes, Abir. Remember, Abir, to unmute yourself. Inti فين يا عبير? Yes, thank you. Yes, Abir.
Doctor.
Yes.
I think it had many advantages. The first one that it increases the skills of writing and listening carefully.
Very good.
All students can participate in this activity.
Lovely. Okay, so we can write, okay, something that, and I would take this from your answer, and I would say, first advantage of that, it focuses, okay, on structure so well. Because when I ask you to listen and restructure the text, no way, you will start focusing on grammar. You will need to think about how to write a good sentence. So it is a very good activity for structure in the language. And this is the first advantage. Let me move also to someone else, and let me ask Aya Sharif. Yes, Aya?
Okay.
Yes?
Okay, so I think that it focuses on writing skill too, because you're gonna start to write, so it's gonna enhance your writing skills and your imagination too. Plus, it's gonna work on how to use your vocabulary in the context and stuff like that. So this is my point of view.
Okay, so I would add this to the point that we've just said, which is helping structure in the language, because also it includes the part you talked about, Aya, which is something that also I agree with you on. Let me move to someone also is raising a hand. I have here Mona. Yes, Mona.
Me, Mona Ghanem.
No, I can see mo na. It's like mo and na, right? So
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, I'm here.
yes.
Okay. Hi, Mr. Shadia. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too.
It's my pleasure. Okay. I think it's a good one to practice on listening more and how to transfer what you had listened to a good story, the good imagination also. Like you said, it's a mental picture, yeah.
Okay, interesting. So, right, we're still talking about a structure, but I need something new here, everyone. So we're talking now it's good for structure in the language. What else can you add? Let me move to Mona Al-Ghanam.
Yes, I think it's a good idea to teach students how to focus on key information, not the details. Like when you started saying the story, I started picturing it in my mind, like Chinese zoo, photo, camera, short boy, shorts, long sleeved shirt, and then I could figure out a bigger picture without focusing on the unnecessary details.
I love the way you're putting this. So yeah. I would say I would add it encourages the students to listen more intensively and to focus on the most important ideas. That's a good point to mention. So we can add this. Thank you so much. Now move. Yes, please. Who is it?
Yes, Iman.
Yes, Iman.
Okay.
Yes, Iman.
We can see that this kind of activity can improve students to help them how to store more information inside their mind. Okay. Not computer, not laptop only can store, but also we can. Okay.
Okay.
So, we can teach them how to predict the sentences that they use. Okay. How to predict. I can't keep all the sentences inside my mind, but I can predict to reach to the nearest answer as much as I can.
Okay, so I would take a point from what you said, and I would say I will add this to the advantages. It's a good memory activity. It is a good memory activity. Let me take also. Let me listen to Mr. Migo. I'm sorry that this is the name I have, Migo.
Yes, it's a great activity for people that to listen, and I think it has related with people that they have a great memory, and people that focusing with some people that they are creative and they have a great memory, and some people also. I think it's going to be disadvantage with people that they have short memory or something like this, and I think this activity has related with memory itself, like dictation or something like this.
Wonderful. So I would take from what you said and add to the advantages, because again, it's different. And this is the beauty of it. Just think about this. We're teachers, and sometimes the students are bored with the kind of activities we use all the time in a classroom. And we need to be creative ourselves, and we need to use something new every time to keep students involved. So when we say that this activity is different, that's an advantage, because you need to use a variety of activities with your students. And this is the beauty of it. It's something new. It's different from what we do with coursebooks. Okay, lovely. So we can say that it is different and interesting. Let's move to the disadvantages. What are the disadvantages of this activity? And let me check some of the people raising their hands. It's time to talk about the disadvantages now. And let's see, Muhammad Abdul Wahab. Yes, please.
Okay, it's my pleasure to be with all of you. I'm happy to see Dr. Shady again. It's maybe a long time ago. So
yes,
here,
we still have a CELTA to finish, eh?
Yeah, I know that. It's something difficult to complete, and this time of Corona, as you know.
I know.
Yeah, it's a difficult time for all of us. And we stayed a very long time in our houses, as you know.
I know, I understand. Yeah, tell me.
So I think the most challenging thing here, or the disadvantage, it's maybe difficult to set for lower levels, Also, maybe it's difficult for shy and weak, and we can say specifically for those who are visual, who can't imagine or visualize things in their minds and speak again.
Oh, I
But-
love that. I love that. Okay. So
But
let me
mainly,
take, yes.
I think this one is, for me, I think this activity is the most important one, because here I see that there are integration of all skills. He will use listening firstly, and then he reconstructs through speaking. And also, why not in my write things or jot down some ideas to then build on them and remember what the other person said.
Thank you so much, Abdul Wahab. Thank you. Now let's say something here, ladies and gentlemen, because I got some very interesting point from Abdul Wahab here. He's talking about visual students, and he's right about that. Some students would love to see things in a classroom, and this is a mental picture, which means that they wouldn't see anything. They will see the picture maybe at the very end. So that would make the activity difficult for them. Okay, so I would say difficult for visual students here. And I would add also something else that Abdul Wahab said here. It could be difficult for weak students, especially if they're weak at listening. So you need to be careful not to frustrate some students in the classroom, okay? Especially because it's yes, please.
Yeah, Mahmoud, Mr. Shadi.
Yes, Mahmoud.
I think it's a very workable activity.
Yeah. Tell me.
I've just received and I've just known it from you, and I work with it with my students. So it works on receptive and productive skills.
Yeah, very true. Yes, it does.
But sometimes a higher level, it depends on a higher level of students and lower level of students. A higher level of students can receive and product some sentence from their imaginations, but some lower students maybe get shy from that, maybe can't work. I think that.
And let me give you a piece of advice here. I mean, this is for everyone regarding this activity. The trick is always in the text. If you make the text so easy, it becomes suitable for lower levels. If you make it more difficult, it becomes suitable for higher levels. So who controls this? It is you. You're the teacher. You're the boss. Okay? You know how to do things and how to make things difficult or less difficult for your students. Now let's come to the last activity in today's session. Okay? And I guess you can guess what it focuses on, because the first one was focusing on speaking, personal picture, and then what's in there was focusing on writing, and then mental picture was focusing on listening. It is time now to focus on what? Reading.
Reading. Okay? Yeah, reading.
Yeah, reading. Right. Because yes, we said in this input sessions, we'll be using picture activities to focus on teaching skills. Okay, and there might be a second session about teaching with pictures for the sake of grammar, vocabulary, and the other, systems.
Yeah, language systems.
Yes, let me move to a screen share a screen with you. Just give me 1 second here. And I'll show you a very, very, very famous picture from the Egyptian culture. And let's listen to some ideas about this picture. Oh, yeah.
Raya Uskina.
Okay.
Raya Uskina in a class?
Yeah, Raya Uskina from the folklore.
Raya Uskina.
Okay, right.
Yeah, there is a real picture for them in Salahuddin Castle.
It's a real picture, the one. Okay, now everybody, please raise your hands if you have some information about the true story of Raya Uskina, and you've got something to tell me about these two lovely ladies. Yes, let me listen to Fathiya. Yes, Fathiya?
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for allowing me to speak. It said that Raya and Skina, unlike the traditional accounts that they used to rob ladies, take their gold. They used to fight against British occupiers or British soldiers, and uh, that's why they were punished. And the story was like fake. This story was faked about them.
Well, yes. Well, I heard this version of the story.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether it's true or not. But I mean,
Yeah.
if it were true, it would be amazing how history is distorted. Don't you
Yes,
think
not
so?
yours too. Yes.
Oh my Lord! You know, I mean, like we're living in the age of delusion, eh? Right.
Yes.
So I want to listen to some other ideas. I can see Fatma Khalid. Yes, Fatma.
Yeah, so as she said, there's two stories for Raya and Skina. I believe in the first one that they were killing the women who has a lot of gold and Alex, and then the police caught them and they got hanged. Yeah, they were the first women to get hanged in the history of Egypt, I guess. And then yeah, and then another story came a few years ago saying that they were fighting for Egypt and killing the foreigners and I've lost the word.
The occupation
soldiers.
forces.
Yeah, the forces, the soldiers. But I don't believe in this story.
Okay, interesting. Now, let me move to another. I want to listen to another opinion about this story. It seems that things are a bit controversial here. So let me listen to Reem Abu Saad. Yes, Reem. Unmute yourself, Reem.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Reem.
Nice meeting you, Dr. Shady.
Nice meeting you too. I'm not a doctor. Just call me Shady, right?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay. Well, my information about those two ladies were really strange, as at the beginning we knew that those two women had that sneaky way of getting the women around in the market to their home and to steal them, mainly the golden stuff they're wearing, and then we're burying them beneath their house. And then recently we heard that this story turned out to be one of the fallacies or a fallacy, and there were like a warrior or soldier. So this is really like, as you said, it's kind of illusion, the age of illusion.
And which one do you believe more?
Well, I cannot tell because it's hard to tell, but I do believe in the first one.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I myself, I don't know. When I heard the second version of the story, I said, well, I mean, the world is full of surprises, who knows? Right. Now, let me say something here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me stop the sharing here. So now, again, to cut a long story short, what we're going to do is that we're going to move from using this picture to introducing a text to students. And let me just introduce that. Let me show you what I mean by the text. So let me share the screen here and show you the text I'm talking about, which is something I prepared myself using Wikipedia. Yeah, 1 second. Okay, right. Okay, so this text actually I took from Wikipedia here. It's about Raya and Skina were two Egyptian serial killers and all that stuff. And you can see that difficult words, I made them in bold because after that, I designed an activity to target the difficult words before students get to the reading passage. And this is another use of pictures in enhancing reading, which is an activity that we call what's behind the picture, or what's the story behind the picture. Okay, so let me share the screen with you and let's talk about this before we end our sessions today. And let me share the grid with you again one more time. And as you see, let me help you with that because you can't see it. Yeah, I guess you can see it now. So when you look at the grid, the first point that we need to talk about as usual for what's behind the image is skills or language. So what is the skills number one here? And let me listen to Dua Radwan.
I think the skills here, of course, it's reading.
Yes. Are there,
And
can we integrate other skills, Dua, along with reading?
yes, of course, introducing new vocab. As you said, you made it bold.
Yeah. Okay. So vocabulary also can be targeted.
Yes.
And also after, I mean, look at the amazing discussions we had together about, okay, whether Raya and Iskina were good people or were fighting for freedom,
Yeah,
or they were
it
just
depends
serial
on the
killers.
background of the students, if they know anything about the true story of these two women. And of course, if they didn't know information, the text will give them or will provide them with the information they need.
Wonderful. And let me give you a wonderful idea of how to turn this reading activity into a very effective speaking activity. Now, look at the discussions we had here with some of you. Some of you said that Raya and Iskina were fighting against the British forces when they were occupying Egypt. Some other people said, no, they were just serial killers, as the main story said. Now, imagine that you divide your class into two groups. One group will get a text that says that Raya and Iskina are serial killers, while the other text says that Raya and Iskina were nationalists fighting for the freedom of Egypt. And then
So it's gonna be a debate.
Exactly. Not only a debate, it's a reading jigsaw activity. And a jigsaw activity, the beauty of these activities, that we create a kind of an information gap, okay? This information gap will generate a lot of discussions because again, you will put each two students together and you will say, okay, now it is time, tell your friend or explain to your friend what the text you've read say about Raya and Iskina. And of course, they will have completely different ideas. And each one will try to convince the other with the version of the story. So that could generate a lot of speaking or writing, if you want. So again, in terms of skills, I would say number one, reading will come on the top, but that does, but also vocabulary can be there, writing and speaking can be there as well. So moving from there to the level, what level do you think this activity would be suitable for? And let me ask my friend, let me just, I'm trying to get the name, just 1 second. Okay, right. Yes. Oh yeah, Ahmed Arafa. Yes, Ahmed.
Hi, Dr. Shady. Happy to see you shining again.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I think the level of students, maybe it's suitable for intermediate and upper intermediate students because it's very easy for them to make a debate and tell about the ideas they have about this case. So the text have many hard vocabulary. So the students, lower level students, will find it difficult to take this activity. I think it's more suitable for higher level students.
Excellent input. I totally agree with what you said. Yes, it's very difficult for lower levels, but it works pretty much fine with intermediate and more. But if you go less than intermediate, that would be really, really difficult. Yes, Himmet want to say something. انت فين يا هبة؟ انت فين؟ Himmet, are you with us? Okay, Himmet is gone. Right. Okay, let me unmute everyone because I can see them. Some children are about to eat their mom. So Right, good, lovely. So, okay, let me listen to Yusra. Yusra, yes. Yusra Walid, or Wahid, sorry. Yes. Unmute yourself, Yusra. Yeah, Yusri. Okay. Yes, Yusra. Are you following us, Yusra? Okay, so till Yusra come back.
Dr. Shady?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but I missed the question. Can you ask again, please?
Yes, we're talking here about, the level. We talked about the level. Now we're talking about advantages. What are the advantages of this activity?
Okay, I can speak now.
Oh yes, Yusra. Sorry, Wala, coming back to Yusra. Yes, Yusra, finally you're there. Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. Okay, the advantage of this activity, it will improve learners' reading skills and speaking as well if we use it as a debate. They will learn something about history, I guess. I guess that's it. They will discuss together about this text, and they will learn a new tab. I guess they will. It's beneficial text.
Okay, so I would say that advantage number one, you can write this down, focusing on language and the skills. Okay, focusing on language and skills. That's an advantage, right? Also, another one, Yusra mentioned something about history, but I wouldn't say history, I would say culture. Okay, so it's a cultural activity because you can always bring famous picture from the news, okay, and then relate the picture to a story from a newspaper, and you can build the whole lesson on this, and it will be really interesting, far more interesting than many lessons in course books. So let's move to Aya Sharif. Yes, Aya.
Okay, so I think again, so it's gonna work on a reading skill, and I think that it's difficult to work on reading skill, yani, because when we deal with the students, the most important thing with us first, sorry, is to deal with or to deal according to the speaking. Actually, I feel that the reading skill is neglected somehow. So it's a good opportunity actually to enhance reading. And of course, we're gonna work on pronunciation through reading. So we can correct any pronunciation mistake that we can actually find with any one of the students, like for example, p and b sound, how to use s and stuff like that. So this is my point of view related to this.
Okay, so let me say something here about what you've just said, Aya. I'd say if your main aim in teaching this lesson is reading, then and this advice would go for everyone here in this session. Please, never ever ask your students to read aloud. Never ever. It's a no-no action. If you're teaching reading, then never ask them to read aloud. Why? Number one, because when students read aloud, they don't focus on understanding the text, but actually they focus on pronouncing English correctly. So the focus would be shifted from reading to pronunciation, and pronunciation is not your aim here. If you're teaching pronunciation, it is okay to ask some students to read aloud. But if you're teaching reading, then it would be wrong on your side as a teacher to ask them to read aloud. That's point number one. Point number two, if the students read aloud, it would be super boring for others. Because imagine that you have 20 students in the classroom, or even 10 students. If you ask the first students to read, the last one will be dying out of boredom because it would be saying, oh my Lord, I have to wait for 9 people to finish. So it would be terrible. That's number two. Number three, it is unnatural because in reality, we don't read aloud. In reality, we read in silence. We just sit with a book and we read. We read aloud only if we're reading the Holy Quran in a mosque, or if you're reading the Bible in a church. But you don't read normally aloud, right? Number four, think about this, it's embarrassing for some students because when some students are reading aloud, they would sound like this. Like one student would say, Raya and Diskina, were two Egyptian serial killers, and one student back there in the room is laughing like crazy. You know what I mean? And of course, if this student is laughing, okay, the one reading is completely embarrassed. And this is a very, bad situation for students. So please don't ask students to read aloud. One last thing, which is, which many good readers know, if you love reading, you know that we always have voices in our heads. I myself, I love reading James Bond novels, and I always have this special voice for James Bond in my head. You know, this, my name is James, the name is Bond, James Bond. And you have, this, oh yeah, okay. But then when you ask your students to read, they destroy these voices in your head. Because you will find one student saying, the name is Bond, James Bond. And then he's, oh my Lord, no, James Bond doesn't sound like that at all. And so they would be destroying the voices of the characters in their friends' heads, and they will feel bored because of this. So one last comment to mention on this one, never ever ask your students to read aloud as long as your main aim in the session is reading. It doesn't help, and I'm talking here about teaching adults. And I usually say to my CILTE candidates, if you have a reading lesson and you ask your students to read aloud, okay, then you want to fail your lesson, because that's enough to fail a reading lesson on a CILTE course. Okay, so coming to the one last comment, let me move to a comment for Iman Abdul Min'im. Yes, Iman. Unmute yourself, Iman.
Yes, Dr.
Yes.
Shady, is it okay?
Hi. Yes.
Hi. So we are talking about this activity, the advantages of it, yes?
Yes, sure.
Yes, I think it's before we show the text to the students, first of all, I show them the picture for Raya and Sukainana. So I give them, yeah. I give them a chance for 3 minutes or 5 minutes for everyone to give me their ideas about this photo. So I think it's a kind of for giving them the ability to write about a biography story.
Okay, so somehow you think that it supports writing biographies.
Yeah.
Oh, why not? Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of advantages there.
Okay. Do agree with this one. Yes,
that's
it supports.
I'm showing them the text to read.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Is it okay?
Now, yeah. Now let's move to disadvantages, and I would like to ask Fatma Tawer. Yes. Fatma?
Yes, doctor. Yes. As for the disadvantages of this test, maybe students don't have enough information about the topic, and they feel that they don't have enough vocabulary, or they know well about it. So they find a kind of difficulty, or they feel that they are shy to express what they want to say.
I would say excellent idea, Fatma, because again, Fatma is 100% right about this. You need to choose a picture that you're 100% sure that the students know about it. Let me show you something. I will show you the original activity and how I changed this activity for the sake of this session. So let me share the screen with you and show you this. Okay, one sec, people. Yeah. Okay. I will share the screen now, just 1 second. Okay, so yeah, this is the original picture. Let me share this. Now, again, this lady in the picture, I mean, if I put this picture in an Egyptian class and then I look at them and say, what do you know about the lady in the picture? Then Egyptians will go like, we don't know anything.
Fine.
I mean, we haven't seen this lady before. But maybe in the United States of America.
I think.
Yes, please. Someone want to say
maybe
something?
she was spy.
She's just what?
Spy.
Spy. Well, actually, she's a criminal.
She's a criminal.
Yeah, she is a criminal, like Raya and Skina, a very famous criminal in the American culture. But again, the main point is you cannot introduce something like this to the Egyptian students because they know nothing about this lady. And again, it's very important to check and think about your students' culture before introducing an activity. So if I'm taking Raya and Skina to my students, for example, in Durban, if I am teaching South African students, then it wouldn't work. It wouldn't be interesting at all.
We're speaking about cultural awareness.
Of course. And this is something that the teacher...
They are more familiar.
Yes, very true, very true. So I would say yes. Part of this is to make sure that the activity you're running is suitable for the culture. Right. One last thing to say about disadvantages before we say bye-bye to everyone is one disadvantage that the activity doesn't work with all levels. It works with higher levels only. So it would be very difficult for lower levels. And this is, of course, a disadvantage. Okay. Now, let me say this before we finish this meeting. And I'll take some questions before I leave. So first, I'd say this session mainly focused on 4 activities to wrap up. Activity number 1 is a personal picture, focusing mainly on speaking, followed by activity number 2, which is what's in there, focusing mainly on writing. Then activity number 3, the mental picture, focusing mainly on listening. And finally, what's behind the picture, focusing mainly on reading. And again, the beauty of these activities is that they're adaptable. You can always change them so that they suit your students and your classes. Now, if you're raising a hand now, so make sure that you have a question for me to ask before we end this session. So I'll leave you some time to ask me questions. So let's go to, I have a question from, wait a minute. Oh, no, wait a minute. Yes, a question from Mr. Migo. Yes, Migo, unmute yourself. يا ميجو. ميجو راح فين? Right, okay. So let me then receive a question from Iman Abdul Mun'im.
No, sir. I'm raising my hand from the beginning of the session. I don't have any question. I just wanted to thank you for everything that we told us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me move to Madhu. Yes, please unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for everything, but I'd like to mention something. However, that sometimes when we'd like to motivate the students or make them read something, sometimes we bring some pictures they don't know anything about this picture because it's reading. So for example, Machu Picchu, for example, as a picture for Machu Picchu, some people or some students, they don't know Machu Picchu. But after that, I ask some pre-question according to this picture to check that they are gonna read, so you will get benefits as a new vocab, for example. So sometimes we bring some picture, but I didn't speak about people. I speak about places, for example.
Excellent. Yeah, I do agree with you, Mamadou, on this one. It would be a great idea to bring a picture of Machu Picchu, and then you ask the students, where do you think this is? Would you like to go to a place like that? Wonderful. Yes.
And for the last year, I worked in the last term, I worked in 3 different schools for elementary, middle, and high school. And I use this strategy with different level of students, even lower students and high level students in IB schools. and it's okay. It's successful way.
Yeah. It works wonderfully. Yeah, do agree. Great. Okay, wonderful. I do agree with. It works so well with places.
The activity according to the reading part. For example, I used the cards, but from this part, I put a word and the definition on the other cards. So we play together. I give you the word, you give me the definition. So activities, I think activities are more important than the task itself. I think.
Wonderful. I mean, because we believe in communicative teaching and we want students to be doing things themselves and instead of the teacher just giving a lecture. So yes, I agree with you. Tasks are very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Moving from there, let's Sarah. Let me listen to Sarah Safa. Yes.
Okay, Dr. Shady. Some teachers argue that we have to introduce the culture to the student as well as the language. So if we are going to alter everything that is related to the culture to our culture, how we are going to do this?
Okay, well, that's a very good question, Sarah. Thank you so much. I would say culture is power. And when you try to relate everything you're teaching to your students' culture, okay, your teaching becomes stronger. Like, let me give you a very simple example, okay? If you're talking about McDonald's, right? And then instead of talking about McDonald's in general, you start asking your students about McDonald's restaurants that are nearby their homes. And you ask them about their experiences when they visited those restaurants. So now here you're asking about your students' culture, okay? So if you're about to talk about criminals, and then instead of bringing a criminal from another country, then you bring an issue that is so hot here in Egypt, and you start talking about it. Students will be more engaged in things that are so much related to their lives. Think about sports, which is better to tell your Egyptian students about Tiger Woods, the most famous golf player in the world, or you start talking about Mohammed Salah. Right, well, Mohammed Salah would be a far more interesting topic than Tiger Woods for Egyptians, because this is closer to their life and their culture. However, sometimes the students need to learn about different cultures, okay? And again, I would say it is so much great to compare cultures together and to bring in your students' culture in the topic. But again, it's not that strict that you have to do it for every single activity. There is a bit of freedom and space in this, right? So
can I say something, please?
Yes,
Can I say
sure.
something?
Russia, yeah. Is it Russia or Mona?
About this part, yeah.
Yes.
Is my voice clear? Can you hear me?
Yes. Now I can't hear you.
Yes. Concerning this part about the culture, we can fix.
No, now I can.
Can you hear me now?
Keep going. Yes, keep going.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I can't hear you either, so maybe some other time.
Well, okay. So look,
please, Dr. Shady.
Let me get to Abdullah Hariri. Yes, Abdullah.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for highlighting the point of culture in teaching.
Thank you so much,
I do
Abdullah.
agree with you regarding the material to be used for teaching or testing. I have been teaching English in Kuwait for a long time, and I see some Egyptian teachers here asking students to read passages taken from the Egyptian books, and they are related to the Egyptian culture, okay? And this is something outside the students' experience and culture, and this is a big problem, and they are always criticized for that.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand, because like I remember when I was in South Africa teaching Congolese refugees there, that I had to go to Congolese websites to know about the most famous Congolese singers. My students were amazed that I knew about them. I didn't know anything about Congolese singers, but I had to go to check some famous names of Congolese singers in order to use in my class to generate students' interest in music and singing, because that was the topic of the lesson. So I do agree with you, Abdullah. It's very important that you study the culture of your students regarding a specific topic so that you can make them interested. Right. Let me get to Isra Abdullah. Isra, what do you want to add here? What is your question?
Thank you. I heard you saying that asking students to read out loud is a practice for pronunciation rather than reading itself, because they won't be focusing on the meaning of the text. I find it very important for them to understand the punctuation and when to stop and what to say when they find a comma, semicolon, and so on. So I can't judge that if I can't see how they read it. So I'm going to put it aside for pronunciation practices from now on. But in your opinion, what are the best techniques to teach reading itself?
Okay. Well, I'm very happy with your commentaries, because again, you said it while you're speaking, because I want them to focus on comma, the semicolon, the full stop. I want them to understand this. And these are mechanics. They're not related to reading. Okay. They're related to mechanics and use of punctuation, which is not your main aim. So again, always when we're teaching, we think about the main aim. And if the main aim is reading, then reading aloud is not the answer. But if you want to know whether students, okay, understand the functions of mechanics, and this is why you're asking some of them to read aloud, then I'd say yes. But don't tell me that the main aim is reading. Tell me that the main aim is mechanics, or maybe the main aim is pronunciation. The best strategy for teaching reading is following the main three blocks: pre-reading, while reading, post-reading. Okay, and then I would recommend a wonderful book that we recommend to our CELTA candidates on courses. So you might read the reading chapter in this book, which is Jim Scrivener, Learning Teaching, and go to the reading part, read about it. I guess you will benefit a lot from it.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely welcome. Now moving to Radwa Abdul Hamid, what is your question?
Yes, Dr. Shady, I want to ask you, can we as teachers apply what we take today to videos? Okay, can I give my students a personal video and make them comment on it like a personal picture?
Of course. Well, videos are very amazing, are really amazing for teaching, because again, especially if these videos are about yourself as a teacher, because students are so much interested in their teachers and they want to know more about them. And if it is something personal to the teacher, it becomes more attractive for students. So yes, you can apply the same thing about videos as well. Right, but always be aware of how long this video is and how much time it would take from your class. Moving to a question from Ahmed Tawfiq. Yes, Ahmed. Yes. Unmute yourself, Ahmed. Yes. Hello.
I think this method in teaching reading is extremely beneficial. I think it's great to divide it as three stages, pre and reading and post reading. It's so great to do something like this. Thank you.
Okay, so you love this way of teaching.
Oh, so great way to teach reading life.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's move to
I have a question. Yes.
Yes, please shoot. Who's speaking?
My name is Radwa.
Radwa, yes, Radwa.
Okay, excuse me, could you repeat the last part of the skills which are appropriate to each one of these activities which you are showed for us?
Okay, yeah, I'd said, well, the first one.
And excuse me, there is another question. I can change it. I can change the target, or I can change the skill from one to another.
Of
you,
course.
You have told us these are the main skills which are suitable for these activities. Okay. but I can change it according to the level, according to the content, according to of that syllabus.
Of course, I'd say yes. You can always change the aim of the strategy and make it about something else, and make the focus about this other skill. So let me just repeat one more time what each activity focuses on according to what we do. Let me just mute everyone for the noise. Yes, so I would say number one, the first activity, which is personal picture, we used it for speaking. However, you can use it for writing if you want. It's up to you. You can change the whole framework. And number two, activity number two, which is, I guess it was what's in there. We used it for writing, okay? But it can be also used for other skills. It can be used for speaking if you want. Number three, which is mental picture. We used it for listening, but it can be used also for even teaching grammar, okay? Like think about a picture where you have, where you use a lot of prepositions, like behind, in front of, above, below, and then you ask the students to restructure the text focusing on the use of prepositions. So again, you can manipulate the activities the way you want and change their meaning. The last one, which is actually what's behind the picture, is used mainly here for reading. However, again, you can adapt it and use it for different skills, Radwa. Moving to another question, and let's go to Wiam Saeed. Yes, Wiam. Unmute yourself, Wiam, yes.
Okay, yes, doctor, I want to ask about the best reading strategy for young learners, because actually when I ask them to read silently, some of them, they don't read, or they feel reading is hard, or they struggle in reading, so they don't read. So
Well,
do you think echo or chorus reading are good choices or not?
I would say regarding young learners, I'm not the expert to ask about this because it's not my field of expertise. So my experience goes only for teaching adults and teaching teens. So I would be the wrong person to answer this question. However, I would recommend, okay, that you either go and read a book on teaching young learners, or check with a young learner trainer who can give you a better advice than me on this one. So I'm sorry if I let you down.
Excuse me, doctor. Like whom? Like who? Because I noticed that in Egypt we neglected the young learners, and the most of us are teachers of young learners.
Then what I would say here, Shayma, is go and check with. There is Laura Woodward. She's also an amazing person, and I know that
Who?
Laura is based.
Could you
Laura
repeat it?
Woodward. Yeah,
Could you
Laura
type
Woodward.
the name? Could you type the name, please, doctor?
Yeah. Wait a minute. I'll type it for everyone. Wait a minute. So just 1 second. Oh yeah, someone wrote it already.
Yes, Laura Woodward. Yes.
Yeah, Laura is great. Laura also was my trainer when I was training up to become.
There is a webinar. There is a webinar today at 10 o'clock for Laura.
Okay. Laura is great. Then you can ask Laura
thank you.
also about teaching young learners, because she's been teaching CELTA young learners also for a long time with Cambridge. I think she would be better able to answer this question.
Thanks a lot, Doctor.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
Absolutely welcome. Right. So
Mr. Shady,
yes.
I'd like to clarify something. So the aim of the reading exercise is comprehension and getting to know new vocabulary, right?
Well, the main is reading, but if we teach some vocabulary, it's because we believe that these vocabulary items are blocking words. They might block students' understanding of the text. And this is why we might bring up vocabulary and pre-teach it before students read the passage.
Great. So the second question is, if I want them to learn mechanics about the punctuation, full stop and such, so when they read something, they don't stop at random places. Can I use two techniques in the same thing, in the same exercise, or should I just stick
Sorry, sorry, I muted you while you're speaking. Sorry, but okay. Let me say something. If you're teaching mechanics, then I would teach mechanics myself as part of my writing lesson. So, and usually when I teach writing, you follow stages. So one of the stages in writing is called the genre analysis stage. So if you're following the product approach to teaching writing, which starts by leading and then reading the text, and then after that genre analysis, I will teach mechanics in the genre analysis stage before the students start the writing task. So that's when I will focus on mechanics, right? Moving to one last question, because I have to run and I'm really happy that I've met with everyone. So let me take a question from someone that didn't share before.
Excuse me, doctor. Excuse me, Dr. Shady.
Yes, please.
It's not a question, but it's a request. Could you please keep the video of this session on your page and on the Reach Cairo page?
It's already on Facebook.
Yes, I see it. Yes, on your Facebook page.
I'll keep it. I'll keep it there.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much. And thank
absolutely
you for
welcome.
Thank you very much for your illuminating and informative session.
Oh, thank you, Sab. I mean, thank you for the heartening words. Thank you so much. It's really encouraging.
So for this reason, I ask you for keeping this video or for this session on your Facebook page and on Reach Cairo page, whatever, to be a reference for us.
Okay, I'll leave it there, and I will also upload it to my YouTube, so it will be there as well if you want to get back to it. And thank you so much for the heartening words.
Could you please say it, your YouTube channel? Could you say it?
My YouTube channel is actually, there is a link on Facebook through which you can go to the YouTube channel directly, and also you can go to my blog. I will write it to you here.
Okay, and all the videos are kept there.
Yeah, I'll just, it's www.shady.blog. Let me send it to everyone. Wait a minute. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay, yes, I'm here. I'm writing it.
Mr. Shady, can you send?
I sent you the blog URL.
Okay, so yes, Shady blog.
No, now let me just mute everyone, then receive questions again, so that it is more organized. Yes, let me just get a question from who, and yeah, let's Iman Yousef. Yes, Iman.
Oh, finally. Okay. If I want to improve the 4 skills in a separate course for my students, which skill do you recommend to start with?
Well, you're an English teacher, as I guess, and as long as you're an English teacher, then the best thing to do is to study general English if you feel that your level is not that strong. There is an amazing course that I believe would work in a very nice way with COVID-19 right now. This course has been designed by Cambridge Assessment English. It is called Language for Teaching, and it is available through Britishy as well. The course is open on Cambridge Assessment English platform, and it will be open for people for a whole year. It's not a very expensive course, and at the same time, it is designed to target 2 things for the teacher: the language you use in the classroom and the general English you use in your normal life. The course is designed not like Zoom, but it's a series of recorded videos and activities that you finish. And once you finish the course, you receive a certificate on the profile created to you on Cambridge Assessment English platform. So you have a kind of something that looks like Facebook, but it's on Cambridge Assessment English, where you receive your certificates and stuff like that. That would be a very good idea, or a very good course to work on the 4 skills. I do recommend it. And the beauty of it, that it hasn't been designed so fast. On the contrary, it has been designed so carefully because it has always been online even before COVID-19. So it's not just something that has been transformed for this for the current situation.
Okay, would you say the name again, please? The title of the book?
It's Language for Teaching, and you can check it on the list of our courses at britishie.com or at also www.shady.blog. It's available there.
Okay.
Let me move to a question from Riham. Yes, Riham. Riham Salahuddin. Unmute yourself. Yes, Riham.
Hello?
Yes, hi, Riham.
Hi. I have a question about the certificates of today.
Yeah. What's oh yes, today's certificate. What we're gonna
When
do,
are we going to receive them?
you need to give us some time, because remember, I mean, like we had a kind of 180 participants, okay, starting this session. So this means that we're going to create 180 certificates or something, right? So give us a bit of time, but once they're available, we'll be sending you these certificates on your email, right?
Too much.
Dr. Shady, I'm sorry to interrupt. I've been raising my hand for a while.
Oh, yes, Muntasir.
Yeah, I'm asking a question on behalf of my friend. He wanted to join Zoom, but he didn't have a chance. So he's asking about the efficiency of loud reading, especially in Asian classroom settings, because it has to do with the idea of individualism and collectivism. I know that you have always said that reading is an individual activity, and this is what happens naturally. We read alone, and we read silently. But he is asking about the efficiency of loud reading in such settings, like he has been teaching in China.
Well, I mean, let's say something. It's always about the purpose. Now, if I am training someone because he's going to read some scripts in conferences, then reading aloud here is important, because always think about your aim, always think about what your students need. If students need to be trained to read aloud in conferences, which is a skill needed for some people would go to conferences to read from some scripts to people. And we've seen here in Egypt and in other countries a lot of funny situations because of this, because people can't read aloud. If this is the skill you want to train your students to master, then okay, reading aloud, I'd say fine, because that's what you want. But if we're just trying to teach the students how to read in general, like sit back there at home with a book and read it, then we don't read to ask them to read aloud. It doesn't help. Okay.
Dr. Shady, please, could I ask please
I'm sorry. I have to mute everyone again, because I just saw someone wearing a mask and there was a lot of noise in behind her, right? So yes, again, who was speaking?
Dr. Shady?
Yes.
Please, can I ask you please to send us our certificate on WhatsApp group, because there's some problem in my email.
Okay, we'll send the certificates to the WhatsApp group. No problem.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's okay. It's even easier for us, right? Okay.
Shady?
Yes, please.
Just question: could you recommend for us books or websites to be as a reference for reading more about teaching by using pictures?
Unmute yourself, Mr. Shady.
Stupid me, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I will send you some names of books on teaching pictures to the WhatsApp group, so that you can go there, buy them, download them, and read more about this. Yeah, sure.
Okay, many thanks. Thank you very much.
Absolutely welcome. So I'd say thank you so much, everyone. It has been great being with you. I'm sorry if I am unable to answer all your questions, but I do promise you that this was session number 1. So we talked about using pictures for teaching skills. There will be another meeting where we talk about using pictures for teaching systems, and we will be telling you about it, inshallah. Thank you so much, everyone. And it was lovely meeting all of you. Bye-bye. See you again.
Thank you. Bye.
Absolutely welcome.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.